Nearly 2 days into the government showdown, lawmakers are still at odds over a deal that could get the government back up and running. As Weijia Jiang reports for WJZ, the only thing both sides can agree on is that the other is to blame.
The Senate chaplain opened Sunday session with an urgent prayer for lawmakers.
Direct their steps as they discontinue the blame game.
But on day 2 of the federal government shutdown, the blame game was still going strong.
Lines all across America are laying the blame for this government shutdown right at the feet of Senate Democrats and their filibuster.
Republicans have a short-term spending bill to fund the government. Democrats so far have rejected it.
It all really stems from the president, whose inability to clinch a deal has created the Trump shutdown.
Democrats want a deal to protect so-called dreamers and say President Trump backed away from their tentative immigration compromise.
All along, the president's saying, well, I'll do DACA and dreamers in return for the wall. He's got it. Can't take yes for an answer.
Some Republican lawmakers have also expressed frustration with President Trump and the White House.
I think he's got a good understanding of what will sell, and every time we have a proposal, it is only yanked back by staff members.
Senator Lindsey Graham and more than 20 colleagues from both sides of the aisle huddled Sunday to come up with a new compromise.
We're making progress. We're making progress. We agree on that.
Now they're trying to sell their leaders on a plan to reopen the government before Monday morning. On Capitol Hill, Weijia Jiang reporting for WJZ.
The impact of the stalemate on Capitol Hill is now having an impact here at home. Several federal buildings as well as sites are now closed while Democrats and Republicans hash out a deal. One of the locations is Fort McHenry. But that's where we find WJZ's Amy Ginsey live there tonight with more on the local impact now being felt. Amy.
Jonathan, as you can see, the gate here is closed. It's been under lock and key since yesterday, and visitors are being greeted by this sign letting them know it will remain that way because of the shutdown. It's just one example of how the lack of compromise in Washington is having an impact right here in Baltimore.
The government shutdown enters its second day. The failure of Democrats and Republicans in Congress to reach an agreement on how to fund the federal government brought operations to a halt at federally funded agencies in the Baltimore region. Fort McHenry, which is part of the National Park Service, has been closed since Saturday. The shutdown also means thousands of federal employees will be placed on furlough. They will not report to work on Monday and will not be paid. Economist Anirban Basu says the Baltimore area is especially vulnerable.
We have a lot of federal workers who work in the region and many who live in the region, and this will be quite an interruption to their routines.
Essential services like Social Security will continue to be funded, even if some agency employees are not paid. The U.S. Postal Service, which does not rely on federal dollars, will continue to operate and deliver mail as usual. As the standoff in Washington continues, both sides blame each other.
When you are in the majority, when you have the House, when you have the president, and when you have the Senate, and you can't get the votes to keep our government moving, that's the basic job.
With no signs of a breakthrough in sight, the chances of Baltimore and the country bouncing back depends on how long the shutdown lasts.
The shutdown of 1995-1996 lasted a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. The one in 2013 lasted a couple of weeks. If this one lasts a couple of weeks, then it could cost the U.S. economy billions of dollars.
He went on to say that so far there has not been a real impact on the stock market, but Jonathan, that could change with the opening bell on Monday. So all eyes are on Washington and Wall Street. I'm Amy Ginsey reporting for WJZ. Back to you.
All right, let's hope a deal can get done soon. Amy, thanks so much. Meanwhile, the shutdown could even cause a delay in tax refunds and for people getting certain permits.